just bucket after bucket over my face while I got a foot on my chest, and I remember not being able to breathe.
Holding onto an electric fence.
And then he would bite you by the ear to make you stand back up, because you get kneed in the leg.
She said she wanted to die, so he forced her to run into the brick wall outside.
Dude get kicked in the face while he was doing push-ups. Wired his jaw shut.
Stomach, the chest, the back of the head, whatever.
Violence, more violence. If you reach out to the authorities to get some sort of safety, more violence will come.
Originally, I went to Teen Challenge in Bonifay, Florida. That was a boot camp, and they'd always threaten people that if you acted up or you ran from there, you would end up getting sent to Bethel. Of course, long story short, I ended up running because that's what I do.
Yeah.
But I'd heard stories about kids getting woke up in the middle of the night and been blindfolded, taken places, stuff like that. But so my mother didn't go that route. I was not living with my mother at the time. I was living with a girlfriend. I got real sick and I needed to go to the doctor. She was the only one that could take me to the doctor. I was still going to school and stuff like that as I was supposed to, of course, And my mother, she agreed to take me to the doctor. They called me to the office, and that's I went into the principal's office, and that's when the principal shut the door behind me. And as I looked out his window, I see two big men with the little badges on, and that's when I knew something, that they were there for me, I ran from them, but ended up they caught me, and they shackled me, and they took me from Chattanooga, Tennessee to Lucedale, Mississippi. They didn't stop so I could use the bathroom, eat, nothing. I don't think the guy said 2 words to me the whole way down there. Didn't tell me where I was going. To be a kid, it was a very, very scary situation.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember being told was I was going to Mississippi.
Huh.
And
what was it like when you got there, and what kind of was your first day, and sort of what happened when you first got there?
Well, I remember being taken into an office type deal, and they talked to me, got all my information, and they had me stripped down, and they took all my clothes from me right then and there. I remember, this just being, trying to be mentally broke down, because I felt like they were trying to test me to see where I was, you know what I mean? Because, they treated different, cadets different than others, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they knew you had a little bit of buckness to you, you know what I mean? They weren't going to be so hard on you. They were more, they really tortured the weak, should I say? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which that wasn't always the case, but, I guess, they got all the information, from my mom about, because my brother went there too. They just got me first. My brother was already in state's custody, so he was just waiting to be transported, through the state. And I'd gotten there. When I stayed that first night, I already knew how the boot camp thing, the routine was, because I went to Teen Challenge. And, it was kind of the same thing. So I knew what was coming to me. as far as waking up in the morning and doing your drills and all that stuff. I knew that was coming, but for me to see people getting for real getting abused, and the mental power that they had on other cadets against cadets blew my mind. Because my first day, they took me out to the school thing, and I said I had to use the bathroom. So they took me to the to the field line, so I could use the bathroom, right there in the grass and stuff like that. What are you doing? And as soon as he, I can't remember his name, but he was always the boxer guy.
Was it not?
Dark head. No, not. It was a white guy with a mustache, dark headed.
Yeah. When were you there? What years was that when you got sent?
I'm wanting to say 2002,
Okay.
2001, somewhere around in there.
Yeah, see, I was 96, so yeah, you were definitely after me.
Yeah,
It
but
got,
I met Not though.
yeah.
I definitely met him, but anyways, well, I ran my first day. I ran my first day, and of course the guy was an older guy, so he wasn't going to be able to catch me. But he had a cadet, I think his name was Corbett, and he'd been there for a while. He was just dropped. His parents just dropped him off, didn't want to have nothing to do with him, type thing. But I remember running in the woods. I remember, I thought I'd gotten far away enough that where, I just hide out for a minute. I was already out of breath. I laid down. Next thing I know, I'm being drugged out of the woods. Stood me up in front of the drill sergeant. And from my understanding in Mississippi, that they can't hit you with a closed fist, but it's legal for them to hit you with an open fist. So it was something like that.
Yeah, they did that a lot.
And I remember him going like this, and him hitting me this way, this way, this way, and then uppercutted me. Knocked me on the ground. I mean, he beat me up bad. And said, I bet you won't ever run again. Well, the next day, because, when you first get there, you're in orientation. Or, what do they call it? You get it harder than everybody else because you're first arriving.
They're trying to break you.
Right. And you go through like a month of that, you know what I mean? So after that, my mother warned them, do not put them together. Don't put them together because they'll get together and they'll run.
You mean you and your brother?
Right.
Okay.
So that drill sergeant wanted to make an example out of me, and he beat me up so bad. When my brother got there, they put me in front of my brother, and my own brother couldn't even recognize me. My twin brother. So, and it was from that moment right there, I was like, this ain't for me. I'm out of here. They would line us up at the top of this dirt hill, and they would have us pick up rocks that I'm talking about bigger than softballs, and have us throw them at the other cadets. And seeing that, my brother was one of those cadets, I refused to throw rocks at my brother. He turned me around and said, it's me or him. I still refused to do it, and I ended up getting a beating for that, And that's whenever they took me up, and they took me in that back laundry room, the laundry room that was in the back of the. I got beat there, you know what I mean? And they, it's weird, because a lot of this, I blocked a lot of this out. You know what I mean? After when it happened, and it was, I did my best to forget it, But, since I've read everything that y'all found, and I've heard of other people's, stories and stuff like that. They can say things that just brings it right back. You know what I mean? And like I seen that one guy he was talking about. He seen dude get kicked in the face while he was doing push-ups. Wired his jaw shut. I seen the same thing. You know, you know,
Yeah, they were
and
pretty
and
brute.
kind
They
of
were
the
pretty
same,
brutal.
you know, and kind of the same thing. Like it was. I was reading another story about, it was uh, one kid like really messed up, or the people that tried to kill themselves. You know, you never saw them again. You know what I mean? Within 24 hours, boom, like you don't see them no more.
Hmm.
You know, and
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say that, so and so just disappeared and we never saw him again. I wonder what happened. We've had a lot of people in the group to be like, well, let's try and find so and so, and they can't find them. You just wonder whatever happened to them, whether they got into drugs, or I don't even know where they're sending them when they're doing stuff like that. Who knows what's going on? But I've heard that a lot. Yeah, something extreme will happen, and then they just disappear. You don't see them no more.
like you said, you're from Washington. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Seattle area.
I'm from Tennessee, so that's a good drive.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Where like you just don't. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
But um,
yeah. So you were there. That would have been different to be there with your brother. He was your twin brother.
they did a really good job at keeping us separated.
Yeah.
You know, but we were doing kitchen detail, and well, everybody was cleaning. Had to clean the dishes, and my brother we'd cross paths, and that was a time that we weren't really supervised. There wasn't so much, because they had cadets that were supervisors. You know what I mean? But I was already, I'd gotten in with one of, the cadets that were over the other cadets. You know what I mean? Which I talk to this day. You know, uh, and he knew that we were getting ready to run. You know, and he knew that as soon as I seen my brother, that we were going to be out of there. And by God, if we took off and we fucking ran with a bag of Jolly Ranchers, and that's all we had. You know what I mean? We ran until we couldn't run no more, and so and whatever. I heard stories about somebody saying that there was a Walmart over there where the in the back 40 where there's light or something. No, that's a school. You know what I mean? That ain't no Walmart. That's a football field. But yeah, but back to the whole town thing about them knowing is me and my brother. It was me and my brother and another cadet from Nashville. His name was Bear, I believe. And the three of us we ran, and we got spotted from I think the police or whatever ran from the police. Well, not only us running from the police woke everybody else up in the town. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, we've got flocks of people chasing us in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? Like we weren't burglarizing anything. We were just walking down the road. You know what I mean? And it's like the whole town was determined to get us. Which they didn't. And we walked. We were walking down some train tracks. This was about 5 days later. None of us is eat. All we had to eat was Jolly Ranchers and peanuts because you walked across peanut fields and stuff like that. Any kind of field that had any kind of edible food, we were eating it. But we were walking down the train tracks, and that's whenever these church people. We were walked right next to a church, and these people took us. Yeah, they took us. And they gave us food and wanting to know who we were and stuff like that. Because by then we got out of there. I think we were a couple counties on up, over, down. I don't know. You know what I mean? But well, we ran all the way to the ocean. I'll tell you that. We got all the way down to the ocean. But anyways, they took us. They fed us and they took us to some kind of halfway home, or like kind of like a rehab type shit, like ranch type shit, and they kept wanting to know who we were and stuff like that, and we wouldn't give them our real names and stuff like that. So they dropped us off in Mobile, Alabama, and that's by that time, Bear, he contacted his girlfriend, which his girlfriend told his parents, and his parents said, okay, yeah, you can come home. And he got all the way to Tennessee. All the way to Tennessee. And as he was getting off the Greyhound bus station, guess who was there? Not. So he went right back to Mississippi. And I know this is because I talked to ETN. He was a black guy that was there, and he was kind of he was a really, really big guy, so he was intimidated, and they used him against the other cadets. But yeah,
What happened?
I'd hate to have been him that day.
What happened to you and your brother?
We got home. Oh, I got my girlfriend at the time, and her parents got us Greyhound tickets, and we went back home, and my mother still did not know. She had no idea we'd been gone for a month, if not longer. She had no idea. My mother, she worked at a hair salon in inside the mall. And back when I was younger, it was cool to go to the mall type thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But some friends of mine approached my mother and said, hey, I just seen Brett and Brandon down at the end of the mall and blah blah blah. And my mother's like, no, you didn't. They're in boot camp. They're in boot camp in Mississippi, and my friends are like, they're right down there. You know what I mean? Like, so my mother had no clue that we were even missing.
So you guys actually ran and made it out of there. You're the first one I've ever talked to that actually ran and made it out. Everybody else ran and somehow gets picked up, like your buddy was waiting, or their parents say they're going to come get him in Upshow's Fountain or something like that. So that's cool. That's pretty cool.
Like I said, that wasn't my first rodeo. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what'd your mom do when she found out? I mean, they never sent you back, or?
No. I think it was, by then it was pointless. And I think, the fact that, that we were gone for so long and she wasn't informed, you know what I mean? I don't think she's going to turn around and send us right back. Yeah. But, it's just, it's crazy, you know what I mean? And I could only imagine what Bear went through whenever he got back. Because I guarantee you, he was probably he made it the farthest from running and getting caught. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Knott wasn't too happy about having to go from Mississippi to Tennessee.
No, and if he was with you two that they never found, they probably beat him. Just who knows what happened to him.
It feels good to, sit here and I like talking to you, telling you all this whenever you kind of know. You know what I mean? Because we weren't there at the same time, but you know what the fuck was going on.
Yeah.
Other than my brother, and like I said, there's a lot of things that I don't remember. Or that I'll read a story. You know what I mean? And then it'll come back to me. You know what I mean? And a lot of the stories I read, they say the same thing. but they don't remember a lot. And I mean, why is that?
Yeah, I didn't
You know what I
remember a
mean?
lot either until talking with people. It's kind of like your mind, I think, subconsciously just kind of shuts things out. I still have trouble. Like people will be like, "I was there with you at the exact same time we were there together." I'm like, I just can't remember you, man. I'm trying, but I
I
cannot
don't know who
remember
you
you.
are.
Yeah,
I I remember those the two people, ETN and Bear, and those were the only two people I remember.
yeah,
And the Corbett guy because I mean hell he beat me half to death and drug me out of the woods. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Uh,
You only remember like the really
but
good or
other
the
than that,
really
like I
bad.
right, you know what I mean? And
Huh.
that's just weird that nobody remembers anything. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. That's just weird. But
Yeah. Um, I guess the next thing I'll ask was what was like work and school like for you? Because I was there in 97. In 97, 96, probably similar, but what was work like and school like? And like, was school a priority? Was work a priority? Just what was all that like?
well, you had some cadets that went to school and you had some cadets that didn't go to school. You know, uh, I was one that I don't I seen one day of school, and that was the day that I ran, and I never seen school again. They put me on a work crew. You know what I mean? I built houses and stuff like that, which was on the property and stuff like that. But they just got labor out of me. You know, uh, so I didn't go to school. You know what I mean? And that was kind of the my downfall too. You know what I mean? Because my whole life, where I've either been in boot camp, juvenile, or you know what I mean. I was locked up somewhere where I wasn't forced to get an education. So education wise, I mean, I didn't get any. You know what I mean? I wasn't made to do work or anything like that. They just seen me as a laborer, I guess.
Yeah, do you think that affected your chances later on in life?
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know, like my mind framing, kind of like you said, your buddy. I remember, watching the video with your buddy. He was like, I don't trust anybody. And yet I don't trust anybody. You know what I mean? It took. I mean, I trust my fiance, and that's about it. My closest friends, I don't trust them. You know, I always think that somebody's out to hurt me. You know, because like your buddy said, every male that has ever been put in front of me to guide me or point me in the right direction has let me down. You know what I mean? So my trust issues and stuff like that are just all messed up. You know, I still have nightmares. You know what I mean? I've woken myself up me yelling attention on deck. You know what I mean? It's I mean it's told it's it, I mean yeah, I mean it's really it took away all the opportunities that I feel that I could have been something that I'm not. Because now I've been in and out of trouble. I've been in and out of jail. You know what I'm saying? Hell, and in 2 weeks I've got to go to jail. You know, for the decisions that I've made because of the chances that I didn't get. To do something with my life. You know what I mean? I mean everything's a choice, and then I'm not trying to use it as an excuse, but without an education, you know what I mean? There's only so far you can go in life. You know, you know, long
Yeah,
as long as I feel cheated. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's kind of like that what if I could have been if things were different.
Right. That and let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
This whole Bethel thing? What was it for? I mean, they didn't help anybody. They didn't guide anybody. You tortured kids. You know what I mean? Is this a sick, you know, I mean, what was their motive behind all this? Is what I want to know. Yeah, I mean, did you just have a group of men that loved to torture children? I mean, you get free labor out of them so you can have a property and have houses built on it. Or, you know, I mean, I to this day I would just love the motive behind all of it. You know,
Yeah.
were they really trying to help kids? You know what I mean? Like,
Probably money. They're making money. They made a lot of money.
and then to have kids of your own that are living there. You know what I mean? And it's like nobody thinks that this is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said, from the 80s until the day they was closed, imagine how many kids. I mean, how many kids do you think? You know, there's probably a lot of them dead.
Yeah.
You know, in jail. You know what I mean? Like for that one guy that was, you know, he's